The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that doing.
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
It's Friday, the 13th day of March, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamel Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit. How's everyone feeling? You made it. You made it to the end of the traditional work week. Hope you all out there are feeling good. It is a happy Friday. You know, Friday the 13th, when I was a young person, it used to mean something like superstitious thing. It was superstition, right? I think that movie Friday the 13th and horror and all that stuff, it used to mean something. But as years pass, things changed. So it is just another great Friday for so many who just can't wait to the end of the week. We've got Claire Warner says, good morning, Bermuda, and a great Friday and morning to you as well, Claire Warner. How's everyone feeling today? Just before we get into anything, how are you feeling? How has the traditional work week been for you all? Do you feel relieved? Oh, Nicole Hassel, she says, thank God it's Friday. Forgot it was the 13th. I don't care. It's still Friday. Oh boy. You know, I always tell you all, and I'm serious when I say this. I'm very serious that I really do love Mondays because I just love what I do. I've been blessed and lucky. I'm grateful. I have so much gratitude to all of you and all the people who continue to partner with Bermuda Communications Group because I get to wake up and do something that I absolutely love. And so I do love Mondays, but I'm telling you, as I get older, I am appreciating Fridays and downtime because it is a lot of work. So yeah, happy Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend, just relaxing. Well, I'm not relaxing. I'll probably get up to something, do a few things and, you know, entertain myself. But what I'm not going to do is watch football because, you know, that's too stressful. But anyway, happy Friday to you all. Hopefully everyone's feeling good about this and every Friday. All right. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Desmond Crockwell, and he's coming on. We're talking about the Saving Lives Festival. So really looking forward to it. Desmond's been doing so much in the community over the years. So really, really looking forward to the conversation with him today. Daily Play is a things you should know. Things you should know. And we're going to keep it, you know, pretty much geography like. All right. So hopefully everyone can get this. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, folks. We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson said it's been a very productive week, but happy that the weekend is here. Happy Friday. Indeed, indeed. I jokingly say all the time, you know, most people who like Fridays don't like their jobs. That's not true. We can love what we do and still look forward to some downtime. Folks, the question of the morning is, what advice would you give to young Bermudians facing the world before them today? Somewhat of a Friday fun day, but what advice would you give to young Bermudians about facing the world before them today? What advice would you give them? And this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. If I could say something to young Bermudians today, those just leaving school, entering the workforce, or trying to figure out where they fit in this world, it would be this. The world you are entering is not the same one as your parents grew up in. It moves faster, it's more competitive, and in many ways, it is more uncertain. But at the same time, it is also full of possibilities that previous generations never had. You are growing up in a time where a Bermudian can build a business online, work remotely for companies, or develop skills that are in demand anywhere on the planet. But here's the truth no one tells you enough. Opportunity rarely comes looking for you. You have to go after it. You have to read more than most people, learn more than most people, work harder than most people. And sometimes you'll have to build the opportunity yourself. Another thing I would tell young Bermudians is this. Don't let the limitations of a small island limit your thinking. I say it all the time. Grow beyond your environment. Bermuda may be small geographically, but your ideas, your ambition, and your potential should never be small. Travel if you can, study different cultures, meet different people. And when you do, you'll realize that what makes Bermudians special, our resilience, our creativity, our ability to adapt, those things stand out anywhere in the world. But I would also say this, never lose sight of home. Because while the world is wide open to you, Bermuda will always need people who are willing to come back, build businesses, mentor others, serve the community, and help the next generation do even better. So my advice is simple. Be curious, be disciplined, be fearless, and most importantly, never believe that where you start determines where you can finish. Because some of the most extraordinary stories in the world begin in very small spaces. And Bermuda is one of them. What are your thoughts, audience? What advice would you give to young Bermudians about facing the world before them today? What advice would you give them? We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson. He says, embrace life. Don't be afraid of it. Be bold and be brave. Pursue your dreams, even if your dreams are not those of others. Indeed, in what I wrote this morning in my monologue, it was a lot of what happened with me. When I lost my job in January 2018, I had to figure things out. Did I think I would, 8 years later, have a thriving small business? No. I didn't have the self-belief, believe it or not, that I could do that. Because although I was raised around entrepreneurs and people who had their own businesses, that's not what was instilled in me necessarily. But I knew that the world was so much bigger than the space I lived in. What else, audience? What advice would you give to young Bermudians about facing the world today? What advice would you give to young Bermudians about facing the world before them today? 9/11 Island Girl says, explore the world and remain open to all opportunities, understanding that small ones can lead you to the big one that can set your feet on a path for continued success and happiness. Yeah. I think we get overshadowed by the negative so often. But there's some brilliant young Bermudians. And something I said as I read my monologue, I hope really hit home. Think bigger than Bermuda. I've come across people for years who, maybe they couldn't find work in Bermuda, which that shouldn't be the case today because we don't have an unemployment problem. But most of us have skills that we can utilize the internet to sell way beyond Bermuda. We really do. I'm going to use a school teacher, an educator, right? You're an educator and you're just tired of the system. You don't want to be in the classroom. You can literally create courses online. You can create a YouTube channel, a consultancy where you're teaching around the world, where you're helping educators. If you have a skill where you know how to fix things, you can, that's a global skill set. Every business is looking for people to help them make money. If you were a great salesperson, hey, create something where people may be able to utilize your skill set. And I know I haven't mentioned those two letters yet. AI. You may say, oh, well, they don't need what I have. Folks, regardless of AI's existence, there's still going to be a need for human interaction. And we have to understand that. Young people entering the workforce today who are, it's very different from even what I experienced. They're going to have to be more technologically advanced than us. And again, the world is their oyster. If you can have people in the Philippines and people in India, right, having positions where they're talking to people in Bermuda, in the United States, then why can't Bermudians? And you may say, oh, well, cost pricing. Folks, scale. Scale. Again, audience, what advice would you give to young Bermudians about facing the world before them today? That's what we're discussing. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Anika De Shield says, be open to every potential opportunity. Even if not taken, it may be a open door later, may open a door later. Support each other. I agree. I absolutely agree. Manuela says, don't let your family, friends, and associates decide your way forward. They will not always be there to help you to get where you need to go. Listen and decide. Yeah. I think it's always awesome. It's great having people giving you advice and offering mentorship. But at the end of the day, you've got to make that decision for you. You've got to make the decision for you. Suzanne Ingham says, go out and conquer the world, your world, and never forget, the world is a better place with you in it. You are enough, whether anyone else thinks you are or not. You are enough. Indeed. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, we all make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes and don't be afraid to make mistakes and use what you've learned to empower yourself to do great things. Indeed. What else, audience? What advice would you give to young people about facing the world before them today? Let's be real. We don't know what the world's going to look like in 2 weeks, let alone 2 years, right? There's currently military action taking place with the United States, Iran, and Israel. You see the rising cost. We haven't even begun to feel the effects of what this may lead to. There are young people who have just entered the workforce. I read something the other day, audience, that there's a record number of bachelor's degree holders unemployed. A record amount. Did you all see the story? Let me try to find it for you. You all didn't see the story? There's a record amount bachelor's degree holders unemployed. And I said, wow. Well, again, Bermuda doesn't have an unemployed problem. Let me find it in the news, audience. Americans with 4-year degrees now comprise a record 25% of unemployed workers. Yeah, and that's from the Japan Times. And then CBS News, rising number of college grads are unemployed, new research shows. But the Washington Monthly says no, college degrees aren't losing their value. We are facing incredible times right now. I would say also to young people, especially those who went the route of formal education. Um, Craig Simmons, every time he's such a gem. And I hope that Bermuda and Bermudians show him appreciation that he deserves. But he's such a gem because he's honest. He's not a politician. But he told us years ago, right? And he did it. He does stuff without demeaning people. He does stuff without offending people intentionally. But he said he was trying to direct us towards community colleges and technical colleges and training because you're going to get more value, right? People for years have looked down on community college or trade schools, but you're going to get more value in these institutions because they cost less to attend, but also they offer opportunities for longer careers and opportunities to pretty much always have work. Seriously. Don't take my word for it. I know you love and trust Mr. Simmons, so take his word for it. Yeah? What else, audience? What advice would you give to young Bermudians about the world facing them today? We've got Renee Sherlin says, the current world is moving fast. Travel as much as you can and collect all the exposure available. Secure a job you love, not just to be employed. Be happy. Enjoy life as time doesn't wait for anyone. Yes, before we know it, our working years will be done. Our working years will be done. Folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. What else? Again, for young Bermudians in particular, I remember a time when, and we've had these discussions recently on the show, where young people were told, oh, they have to major in international business or hospitality. Oh, don't do dance, don't do theater, don't do music, like any of the arts. Don't do this, don't do that. I never liked it then. I don't like it now. And that's because the world is so much bigger than Bermuda. And yes, I believe that we should always find our way back home and contribute. But the world is much bigger than Bermuda, but because of the internet, creates a smaller community where we can continue, regardless of where we are, to contribute to Bermuda. I hope that makes sense. But we must allow young people to thrive in spaces that they will make. Now, again, that's not to say that they won't struggle or face adversity. I mean, for me, I felt privileged because I was allowed to do a major. And so I was able to do business and radio and TV. But at first, my mother didn't allow me to do radio and TV because she just didn't see the opportunities in Bermuda. And then when Inter Island Communications launched Hot 107.5, I asked her, can I do a major? And she says, well, with what money? Because, it costs more. And I was able to get a scholarship and do a major. But it was never a straight no. It was, well, where are the opportunities? And for me, I always thought beyond Bermuda as it related to it. And I was lucky to work for Radio Disney and then moved on to Cat Country, worked at a country morning show. I produced high school football games and Providence Bruins hockey games on radio. So I was able to flourish. My mother was telling me, all right, go do it. And so that was the first time I actually enjoyed school when I was doing radio and TV. It was the first. I never liked school. I did not. But when I was put in a position where I was doing things that I loved, I found a way forward in life. And despite working in tourism, which I absolutely didn't dislike the industry, but loved Bermuda, right? I was able to find my way back home as far as career path into this space. And I'm grateful for that because all of you have supported us. So my advice based on my own experience, folks, is, go out there, explore, and do what you want to do. find ways to make it happen. You know, I'll say this as well. The world is so much bigger than your social media timeline. Michael Daniels says, find out what your gift is, then pursue it with a foundation of the natural laws of life. Manuela says, don't just travel the world, determine to learn wherever you go. Absolutely. Try to learn while you're on your journey. Richard Scott says, my advice, be more responsible, not just technical. Pursue being you, not what others or the system thinks you should be to make you successful. I love that. Be more personable, not just technical. And I'm going to take it here, if you don't mind, Richard, is we live in a time where we're not personable anymore, right? Social media. Here's what's crazy. Audience, tell me if I'm lying on this one. Literally, we will engage people on social media, but if we see them in person, we don't even speak. That's weird. I've seen it. Like, I've seen it being like the grocery store and you're not even interacting, but like just a couple days ago, you were on social media engaging about something. That's strange to me. Maybe it's just me. We've got a 9/11 Island girl says, parents have a terrible way of squashing their children's dreams, wanting their children to choose what they want. My goddaughter got her degree in economics and chose to be a DJ. She's driving. She's thriving. I love that. Says she has her own club in Georgia and is one of the most sought after DJs in the Southeast. I absolutely love that. I really do. We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says, create a job that brings you joy so that what you do. Okay. Create a job that brings you joy so that what you do does not feel like a job and makes you bounce out of bed every day. That's exactly how I feel, Dr. Anthony Richardson. Exactly how I feel. We've got Judith Boat says, be aware. Find out what is happening and be willing to adapt. Your skills are transferable. Be open to using them in different ways and places. Absolutely, I agree with you, Miss Judith. Secure BDA 441 says, good morning to the HME. My advice is to not limit yourself to working for someone else. Entrepreneurship is challenging, but rewarding. Yeah, everyone. Find another stream of revenue, side hustle. And the side hustle could one day be your full-time gig, right? Norette Simmons says, when you're in the big world, take every opportunity, e.g. courses, AI, new adventures. Absolutely. You all have been awesome today. Folks, keep it coming, though. If you got any more advice, keep it coming. Let young people know that you care about them. Let them know that, hey, there are more ways than the ways that we are told, taught, and live. Yeah? Let's give some love to Titan Express Secure. Then we'll go to the news break with Teo Dill. Don't forget, we've got a very special guest, Desmond Crockwell, coming on, saving lives. He has been doing the work in our community for years, and I'm pretty sure he's got some good advice for the young people. Let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
All right, let's go to Teo Dill for your Daily Hour News Break. Folks, if you are streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. At Peoples, we've grown with you, from family care to whole life wellness, because good health blooms in the right environment. And ride sharing with private car owners is one step closer to being rolled out nationally. This is a result of the new Motor Car Rideshare Amendment Act, and CITV published a video yesterday afternoon explaining what it means and how it works.
Ride sharing will give residents and visitors more options for getting around, especially at busy times. It also creates opportunities for Bermudians to earn additional income within a regulated system. This legislation is designed to complement, not replace, the taxi industry. Taxis remain Bermuda's primary service for hire transportation. The law sets clear rules for dispatchers. When a passenger requests a ride, available taxis in the area must be given first preference before the trip is offered to ride-sharing operators. These changes are about modern, fairer, and Bermudian transportation.
Now, the local taxi industry has pushed back against this new competition for obvious reasons. Here's a breakdown of the access differences between the two options. Now, taxi drivers typically need access to a taxi permit, which typically costs around 6 figures. That investment creates meaningful advantages, as in they can pick up street hails, operate year-round, line up at taxi stands, and charge government-regulated fares. The new rideshare operators face a much lower entry cost, about $1,000 for the permit, but the trade-off is fewer privileges. They can't accept street hails, must operate through an approved app, and their service hours are generally more limited and tourism focused. Here's what it all means. Taxis require a bigger investment but offer broader earning opportunities, while rideshare is cheaper to enter but comes with tighter rules. Now, the question is whether or not the tighter rules are in fact tight enough. Anybody who knows me is aware that I'm one of the island's most experienced taxi users. I've been a committed pedestrian my entire life, and I've been concerned about this new ride-sharing program for the same reason that I've always felt more uncomfortable when I'm traveling with Uber than our local taxi system. Basically, taxi drivers' scale of investment typically will screen out dangerous people trying to get in close proximity with potentially vulnerable folks. Here's an example of the kind of thing that can and continues to happen with a ride-sharing system with close to wide-open access like Uber.
An Indianapolis Uber driver will spend 45 years in prison. That's after he pleaded guilty to murder today.
This is such a disturbing case. CBS 4's Jesse Wells has reaction from the victim's family.
In exchange for pleading guilty to murder, charges of rape and abuse of a corpse against the suspect were dismissed. The victim's family says they're okay with the plea deal because it gives them some justice and allows them to move forward.
You chose to take the life of my daughter. And now I have to deal with that.
Speaking directly to Francisco Valadez, the mother of Shanti Dixon told her daughter's convicted killer her family is still focused every day on healing.
That might feel like a bit much, but I'm just saying. Bermuda's Royal Naval Dockyard has just landed in the global top 10 cruise destinations for 2026. The ranking comes from cruiseline.com's Member Choice Awards, which are based on thousands of passenger reviews submitted over the past year. Dockyard scored a strong 4.43 out of 5, placing it among the most highly rated cruise ports anywhere on the planet. The list is topped by Skagway, Alaska, followed by Juneau and Willemstad, Curacao, while our Dockyard ranking is just behind Sitka and ahead of Vancouver. Other destinations making the top 10 include Aruba, Barcelona, St. Martin, and Ketchikan, putting Bermuda firmly in some very elite company. So shout out to Dockyard. And weather-wise, conditions will remain settled with a few passing showers mixed in. High pressure is still keeping things fairly calm, although a weakening cold front brings increasing cloud cover and the chance of a few showers through the day. Temperatures stay a little above normal, so it'll still feel quite comfortable. And for today, clouds will thicken up with a few showers developing before easing up later on with moderate southwesterly winds, which should calm down and become more variable towards the evening. The high will be near 71, dropping to about 66 overnight. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Now back to the show, and please have a great weekend.
I completely disagree with you, Teo. I always felt rideshare is actually safer than a cab, and I'll tell you why. If rideshare you correctly, right, you get into it, they have all your information. It's only if you get in a rideshare where you haven't verified this is your actual driver, where you're not looking at the license plate, you're not asking their name, and so on. You have a greater chance of that happening with taxi because, again, anyone just can get in a taxi. You don't have to verify names, any of that stuff. And so the way that rideshare was created, it actually is safer when you get in a rideshare than it is a taxi. That's not a real debate. It's easy to figure out. But Shawnette Sumner says, I know that's, yeah, I think our Shawnette says, Teo's concern about rideshare are valid. I've shared before convicted rapists and murderers do have taxi licenses in Bermuda. Really? Says, what will make rideshare different? I'm all for second chances. But we wouldn't let, I don't know, that Maybe we'll have to speak to the minister. And who's that? The Public Licensing Service Board, like Public Service License Board. Would they be in charge of that stuff? That's pretty scary. If, like, let's just say a woman gets in a cab late night, leaving a restaurant after company dinner on a Friday evening, 9:00, and she doesn't know that her driver is a convicted rapist. That's pretty scary. I don't doubt you showing that. I'm just saying that's pretty scary. All right, folks. Days of the year. I'm pretty sure we did this one recently, but it is Friday the 13th, and it is World Sleep Day, Good Samaritan Day, Solar Appreciation Day, Freelancers Day, International Grant Professionals Day, and Elephant Day in Thailand, Preschoolers Day, National Jewel Day, International Riesling Day. I think that's that dessert wine. Every Girl Wins Day, International Every Girl Wins Day. But I'm gonna go with World Sleep Day. And in honor of World Sleep Day, we asked this recently. Where's the craziest place you've ever fallen asleep? But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to ask, where's one place that you, outside of your bed, where do you get the best sleep? I'm going to tell you all. I don't know how you all stay awake on airplanes now. When I was younger, I couldn't fall asleep. Now, I get some of the best rest I've ever had on an airplane. No lie. So we're outside of your bed, if you have a bed, right? I'm not going to assume. Outside of where you sleep regularly, where do you get some of the best sleep? Where have you had some of the best sleep? Let us know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with Desmond Crockwell, Saving Lives Festival, folks. Stick with us. Do not go anywhere.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workboard for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carrier Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
Welcome back to the Big Show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Linda's People's Pharmacy. Big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, I'm laughing as we came on, shaking my head. I saw a headline on the Royal Gazette just now. Businesses call for pause on work permit English test. Monday's show is going to be a doozy because we're going to discuss that. Just when I thought we were having a Friday fun day and going to end it on a high with Desmond Crockwell with a great conversation, these lot want to annoy me, irritate me, and tick me off. All right, I did ask you before we went to break. I said, where's some place you get a good sleep outside of your bed? Shonette Bell says, sleep before plane takes off, but I've had a good sleep on my couch. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's an age thing, but folks, sometimes before the plane takes off, I'm going. And I just hope I don't snore on the plane, you know? WKD Lama says, planes, I am asleep before the plane lifts off. All right. Manuela says, sometimes I'm asleep before the plane takes off, and I'm surprised that we haven't gone anywhere. Guilty. Laverne Tucker says, my recliner. Okay. My couch, I've also had great sleep on planes. Zena Woolrich. British Airways and Cathay Pacific business class seats, I'm fully rested on arrival. Bonus miles, Dr. Anthony Richardson says. Shonette Sumner says, at a spa during a massage. Knocked out, so I go often. It's an expensive hobby. Man, I fallen asleep on a massage. I was like actually caught myself snoring. Yeah. All right, folks. Let's get to it. We've got a very special guest today. As mentioned, Desmond Crockwell. He's been doing the work in the community for years upon years. Brother puts a lot into it, but let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Put your hands together. Desmond Crockwell, saving lives. Greetings, sir. How are you?
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
How's things going?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the viewers. Good morning to the Daily Hour staff. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, it's a bit delayed just now. All righty. So, well, first off, Desmond, you heard the conversation earlier. We were asking the audience what advice they would give to young Bermudians. Did you have anything that you would say, or any advice you'd give to them?
Yeah, I thought you was gonna ask me about where I like to sleep first, because my coaches.
Coming to that. Don't worry.
I was waiting for that question, bro. I couldn't wait to tell you how much my coach has seen you. But no, I'm just teasing.
You don't make it to the bed. You're like, coach, it is.
So no, what was the question again? No, the question.
Yeah,
sorry.
Advice you would give to young people. Advice you give to young people.
Yeah, the advice I give to young. Okay, so I have a son, 19 years old, right? So this is not some hypothetical advice.
Mm-hmm.
This is actual advice, give to my son on a regular basis. That's about setting goals, And I think everyone's alluded to it earlier about your goals not being anyone else's goals, and the things that you set for yourself, isn't for everyone else. And so success looks different for everyone,
Yeah.
Obviously, a fish in water is more comfortable than out of water. So I think that, as everyone else here, it's about setting personal goals, set themselves aside, and with all the amount of distractions, technology, you spoke about it, man, you spoke about the technology. It can allow one to get lost in what is hypothetically successful. Success just comes on pleasing everyone else, getting
Yeah.
likes and things like that. But deep down, success can come from reaching personal goals, and I
Yeah.
think that that's one advice I give my son is you set personal goals and then you go
Yeah.
from
I like that you said individual. And it's funny because I put up a WhatsApp status yesterday, and let me just find it. It aligns with what you just said. Um, it says, "Stop competing with lives you were never meant to live. Build the one that fits your soul." And I think that's exactly what Desmond just said just now. But Desmond, for those who may not know you, tell the audience a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
Right. So I've worked with young people in these what we call at-risk environments for the last 25, 27 odd years or so. I started out working at the rubber tree. Actually, I was working at an after-school program up at work. Then I worked. I was Bailey's Bay's youth director. I worked at the community centers. I sat on the board of governors for the child replacement when I was like in my early 20s. I was the youngest person by about 20 odd years sitting on that board. I went on to work for government in different areas. Then at the community center, I was the youth delegate for the Commonwealth Youth Forum in Uganda. So I was able to be around other youth leaders and just experience that type of environment and those activities. And I did the youth vision promotions thing. We've been doing that now for about 20, 25 years. Started off by putting on little events in the community of Hamilton Parish. Started off by coaching the young people and putting on little events for the young people. Did it with football. We started to put on, obviously, the anti-violence campaigning started about 10 years ago or so. 2017, I believe, we started the anti-violence campaigning that led into its own world of, the magazines, the marches, the school presentations, the forums we had. Actually, we started off with BPSU. So in that aspect, professionally, that's what we've been doing, man. It's been, in the community in different areas of the community.
You definitely have a resume, and I think it's important for people to understand what people have done to kind of give them context of where we are and why we're doing this. But as you just mentioned, you've been deeply involved in the community for years, doing the work in the community. What inspired you to help launch the Bermuda Saving Lives Festival?
So this event in particular, well, that's what we do is we do events, right? We don't do programs, we don't do therapeutic programs or that, because we believe that we have a lot of therapeutic programs already. So what we focus on is bringing people together, and we realize that that has worked previously in bringing gun violence down and seeing different organizations commit. We're seeing groups form. The Moms Group was formed through all the forums and whatnot that we had. We've seen Hamilton Parish pulled together with Ronald Truck down there and Jamaica Marshall and these guys coming together to put on, an event. So we realize events work. We realize that people need to work together. Currently, I'm actually doing my degree in events management. So everything that I learn, on a daily basis, man, is exactly what I'm doing to this event. So having the conversations, with my colleagues and my classmates and my professors and whatnot in school, I'm understanding that a festival is something we've never hit. Actually, when it comes to young people, in this aspect of saving lives and dealing with them in a social services type of manner, we've never had this level of collectiveness when it comes to
Yeah.
public display.
When I was growing up, I remember, in town we had the block parties up Frizzle's Hill a lot. And I understand the need to bring people together. Once those went away, you started seeing like different sections of the neighborhoods around town becoming, siloed and the like. And so you kind of see what happens when you aren't together and having stuff. But this festival in particular brings together families, youth, professionals, and community organizations. Why do you believe it was so important to create an event that connects all those groups in one space?
Right. I've worked in this space, so I know that these people have answers. I know that, and actually, I want to shout out to one of your viewers, Ms. Island Girl. Who's a perfect example of one that has engaged with young with people that find themselves at risk. So we know what works. We know that young people, they need us and we need them. So collectively, we need to put this together. I'll say this though, it was actually encouraged because I saw the town hall meetings that was happening with government. I think the police was going to run and have a town hall meetings, right? And I saw professionals speaking up at the town hall meetings, and everyone was directing their concerns at the government. We saw it from I think Ms. Horton was there. We saw Glenn Fabler there. We saw Tiffany Thomas there. Seeing I think Dr. Gina Spence spoke up. Eugene Dean spoke up. Pastor Leroy Bean ended it with his speech towards the crowd, about what he does, and everyone speaking about how successful they are, experiences. And I think that it's important that I ask the question, well, why don't we actually speak to one another? Everyone had directed their attention towards government, what governments could do. It was people were asking for funds or whatnot at these town hall meetings. But what I think was important was that there are some intelligent people. There are some intelligent people that have answers, they have ideas. But the hardest part is bringing them together, to work together. And I think that's just so difficult, is getting our people to work together for the betterment of young people. We have so many people that you see it, man. Professionally, we work on our side as professionals. We each have our success stories and our engagement that we've done and our experiences. We've all experienced success, but collectively, what does that look like? And I think that this is a perfect step towards being consistently working together, right? This is a launch of a larger campaign in which we want to go to these schools with the same multi-agency collaborative efforts and go into the schools and work together to engage this thing.
Indeed, I admire you, honestly, because I don't think people understand the stress that comes along with what you're doing. It's not easy. I think people just like, oh, it's just part of these events, and it's so much more than that. Like this right here, the focus on empowerment and well-being is central to the festival. Just share what kind of activities or experiences people can attend, can expect on March 28th at the festival.
Right. So we have about 15 different organizations and people that will be there, professionals that will be there. So each professional and each organization and each exhibit would have, in each station, whichever one we want to label them, we label them as exhibits organization. They'll have their own specific activities that will be relevant to what they do. So we would have Gina Spence is going to have her activities, Mom's Program, Mirrors Group, Kiara's Movement, Bermuda's Love, Raleigh International, Shanette Sumner will be there, and she's going to have her engagement activities. So some will be academic, some will be recreational, some will be sports, but that's on the engagement level with the professionals. And then again, we have larger entertainment, which will be the three-legged race, egg and spoon race. We've got the sack race. Literally want everyone to engage and participate, adults and children alike, young people alike, so that way we can see, a generational event, multi-generational event, in which we see people of all age participating, linking up with one another. When you come to the event, I just want to say this: when one gets to the event, they will be given a wristband of a certain color, in which it will be in relevance to where you stay. So it will be East, Central, West. So when we have these games and these activities, then you'll be representing your community, you'll be representing your zone. So it is going to be somewhat of a local community pride in which we are participating in these activities. Following to that, I can answer another question after that, because
I
to actually network with this and
the audience, I don't know how you feel. And again, audience, if you have any comments or questions, you can send them through. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, you're the best, Desmond. We need to talk soon. And then we've got Shonette Bell. I've enjoyed working with Desmond. Keep it up. We've got Charles H. Jefferson II. He has a question. He says, I don't think I've heard him mention the government. Is that intentional? He did after you wrote this, I believe, but is that intentional to get a lot of this stuff done without government, participation?
Right. So in government, I'm assuming you mean specific ministries, right? Because that's the only people that we would have to, signal out if you're talking about specific ministries in government. Government is huge, right? And so we've reached out to different government departments. Obviously, schools, you have to help with, you have to get different permits or whatnot. But if you're talking about specific ministries in particular, then we've reached out to everyone, national security. We've reached out to youth and sport. We've reached out to culture first. But they have decided that they don't want to respond to us, and that's something that they may have intentionally done. Obviously, everyone knows that I ran for a political party and whatnot. So, in Bermuda, besides Bermuda, that probably does have something to do with why they don't want to respond to us as of yet. But we do believe that, eventually, Jamal, that's we could do a whole show. But
Yeah, but
other than that, brother, it's been
again, things about the
something
greater
they've
good.
intentionally put in.
Yeah, but see, and that's a challenge for me, because when it's about the greater good, politics shouldn't come first. It shouldn't even be a part of the conversation. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. I know I'm pie in the sky for me, but unfortunate. But hopefully, folks will see the greater good in this, and hopefully, any government ministers who might be tuned in right now, or backbenchers, or just MPs that understand the need to make this event successful, can lend their support behind it. Let's talk mentorship, because mentorship and strong social networks are key themes, right? How do those relationships help guide young people toward positive choices and safer communities?
Right. It's about building the skills, I mentor for youth, YouthNet mentor for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and obviously informal mentoring happens on a regular basis. So it's about identifying the skills and helping them with the skills. Again, each child has their own skills and dreams. And like one was saying, we can try, I think it was Shanette saying, we try to smash young people's dreams, in directing them in what we think success is. So, and I saw Richard Scott up there as well earlier speaking, and I say this respectfully, but as God-fearing people, man, Christ was not normal. You know what I mean? Like, he actually was different, and he wasn't educated. He didn't have any wife, he didn't have any big house, he didn't have any money, he didn't have nothing that we consider to be successful. He didn't have any children. So I think that when we look at that in particular, that we can, as Christians, understand that success doesn't look like what we have made it out to be. So each child and each young person has a dream that they want to be individuals, and they can go for it. You spoke about it yourself, in circumstances and situations that have forced you to be where you are, whether it be having lost your job and having to create a way. As entrepreneurs, we can relate that if there's a need, then we look to target that need. How can we solve a problem? There's what entrepreneurs do. You spoke about it, the access to information that we never had when we were younger, my brother. The access is there. We can build entrepreneurs just from him. You spoke about tutoring. People actually tutor and teach English. So you could do that from the comfort of your own home. There's millions of people in China that want to learn English, and you can, set up your own tutoring company straight from Bermuda and do a tutoring program, and have, thousands of Chinese people that you're teaching tutoring, So the access to being entrepreneurs, and the access for us to really grow and think outside the box is here, but we need to be able to encourage our young people to use that creativity, to use that side of themselves, and not be into this little box that says you have to pass this certain test at 70%. If not, you're uneducated, you're dumb, the rest of it, because we're not gonna get.
I want to touch on community collaboration, because it seems to be at the heart of this event. We often speak about, just a couple of days ago, our conversation we had, charity versus empowerment. And as I said then, I've said for the last 20 odd some years, is, I'm not a proponent of charity. I'm a big fan of empowerment, though. And unfortunately, it comes down to those who understand and those who, want to be willfully ignorant. That said, what role do you believe local organizations and leaders play in making initiatives like this successful? Because it's easy saying, okay, I'm going to go donate $100 to this problem. Right now, you donate $100 to the problem, and the problem still exists a year from now. Has your donation really helped the organization or the people in need, or has it helped you with good PR and marketing? So speak to that. Speak to why it's important to make making initiatives like this successful.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, some things can get me in trouble, man. But because we've been in the circle, right? So I say this to say, and I say this with all love in my heart, man, because I care about our young people, and I'm purposely driven. You know, I'm not one that's like gender driven or, you know, money driven or whatever, right? Like I've quit jobs that have paid me well, you know, because I realized that it's not going anywhere. So, you know, I understand the difference between what you were saying, charity and actually, you know, hands-on. But in this space, especially in saving our young men, and I say this to our brothers, like, we have to get more involved. We need more male leaders, right? A lot of women have been tackling this problem. You know, if you look at who's leading up all the charitable organizations, man, the whole women, you know, from the late great Martha Desmond, you know, we've got Kim leading that up. You know, we've got Katrina over there, Big Brothers and Sisters. We've got Gina Spence over here. We had Claire Mello, that was YouthNet. You know, we had Sheila Cooper that was heading up the family thing over there. And so we've had a lot of women that have been trying to tackle this problem, you know, and it's a difficult space for people, period, and for young men to, you know, humble themselves, man. They would need someone that's guaranteed that they can probably identify. And I think that it's an emotional space, so that's why we need women here. So there's no knocking on women, but we need more men to join in this effort, because that's, I think, is where we're gonna see hands-on, really, you know, mentorship. You know what I mean? It's gonna be difficult for women to mentor men. You know, yes, we need them. You know, we need them to support us in the organizations that together. Women naturals like no one else. You know what I mean? But to actually mentor a man and to teach a young man just how to tie a tie. You know what I mean? Just simple, something as simple as that. You know, that's needed by men. And so if we have a problem with our men, then we, if our young men in particular, then we need more men to step up. So that means swallowing our egos and our pride. You know, we gotta stop this nonsense about, you know, envy and jealousy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and really come
I agree.
to our young boys. They need us. You know, but we need
Yeah,
each other still. We need each other. You know, I need you,
yeah.
brother, because I'm not good at broadcasting. You know what I mean? So, you know, we need you, man. We need that.
Yeah, I appreciate us. I think what is being said, and I hope people understand, is we need to humble ourselves and understand that we all have a role to play. Humility is needed in this space. I'm not afraid to say I need people or need somebody else. I think you know, we can do it alone. That's been proven over centuries. But my hope is that you know, people understand the importance and the need. I'm going to go to the audience. Charles H. Jeffs II says, I love this idea. I hope it leads to more collaboration. Our problems with violence will not be solved by the government or any entity alone. It shouldn't be about credit, but about Bermuda's future success. Let's go to some others. We've got Shauna. Shauna says, I encourage the community to throw their full support behind Desmond. Looking forward to working with March 28th. I think we went to that. We've got Restless Native 781. Bermuda is a lacking community. In the 80s, it was the village that taught the youth. Indeed, absolutely. It was very different when we were growing up. But for those who are tuned in right now who want to support Bermudian youth, what message would you share about why they should attend or get involved with this festival in particular?
Because everyone has something to offer. You know, we all have a resource. I don't care if it's a little paddle bike in your garage, man, that you can, you know, offer someone. It could be a lift to work. You know, you can have intelligence. You can have space in your house. You might have advice. You might have a good relationship with your child, and you know someone else is struggling or challenged with having a relationship, and you might be able to help them with little things, little icebreakers, little activities. We also have the organizations in which some people volunteer for, get resources, you know, resources for. Again, you got people like Shanette, someone who is full of intellect, full of intelligence, full of passion, full of knowledge. So please come down, interact with her, because you will take something away. We will take something away that's going to help you to interact with not just, your children, but your grandchildren, grandchildren, nieces, nephews. We work with young people. So we are here to ask people to come down and let us share our knowledge with you. Let us share, what it is that we know works. You know what I mean? And we can see this actually take off if people are willing to do it.
Yeah.
Let me just say
Desmond,
this, man. That when we go to communities, just for earpiece, sorry.
oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Sorry. No, when we go to the communities and with the little Bombayers and whatnot, everybody comes out the houses and they join in, right? Even if they, they don't finish, but everyone supports that campaign. We go to the schools, all the children are jumping up and down. The teachers want us to come back. So the problem is not the grassroots community. The problem is not the children. The problem is us leaders. It's the leaders that don't want to come up. It's the leaders that, I don't like him, I don't like her. He went with my brother's ex-girlfriend, sister, or that type of nonsense. This is literally happening right now. This is not hypothetical stuff. Like if somebody felt like she met somebody. So it's us leaders, man, that are letting our young people on because they appreciate the work that we do. And I mean all of us. They appreciate the work of all of us, not just that. You know what I mean? But it's us that have a problem with one another that we need to put aside and let's swallow our whatever it is, and let's work together. And let's help,
Indeed. Shawnette Sumner, she says, it's funny. She says, ask Desmond to speak about. Well, you can ask. Just say, what about the park? Well, just remind people, Desmond, March 28th, where does it take place? How much? Where's the parking? Not as much information as possible. Give it to them.
Got you. Saturday, March 28th, Francis Patton. The event starts at 12 o'clock. It ends at 6 p.m. Our parking will be, we encourage people to park at Doc's Paddle Field. That's Bayless Bay Cricket Club field, the field just before that. We're also looking to ask Bayless Bay if we can use their field. We do have a shuttle that will be running people back and forward. So what we encourage is that you drop your, your family members off at the gate, let them go to the event. While you go down, drop your card on, bike on, and then you would have someone shuttle you back up. We are in talks with Pro Gospel Hall to see if we can allow, if they would allow us to have some park there. Bikes, we know that bikes can come into the gate. Bikes will be allowed to park beside the gate because of security reasons. But cars, because of crowd control, crowd safety, we don't want people coming in the gate and parking. $10, get your ticket, $10 on ptix.pm. It's $15 at the gate for adults. We're looking to give away about 1,000 youth tickets at the eastern end of the island. We need a sponsor so we can try to get more tickets out. We want to thank Bermuda Foundation, formerly the Bermuda Community Foundation. They have been the ones that backed this and supported this. And without them, this wouldn't be happening. So we really want to thank them. Really want to thank them.
I just want to thank you. I think it's important. Yeah, I think it's important for the community to give thanks to people like yourself who take these initiatives on and do this work. Like I said at the beginning, I don't think people understand the amount of stress that can come with this, the internal stuff that can go on. You have a 19-year-old son. Anyone will know, though I don't have a son, I am a son. And raising a young man in Bermuda it isn't easy, right? So I think, I just want to show you gratitude for what you do. I mean, I'm joking, but I'm serious. I mean, as a fellow, you are a Manchester United fan, that's stress enough. So you don't need, community stress. But all seriousness, thank you for what you're doing. And I encourage the audience to get out there. I mean, people always say there's nothing to do in Bermuda. This is an event that doesn't cost much to get involved. And I appreciate the people who are going to be involved, from the mentors to the people at different booths and so on. But get there, come out for a good time, embrace the community, the greater community. And let's make sure that this is not a one-off. One of the saddest things, as I mentioned earlier, in town, we used to have the block parties at Frizzle's Hill. As those fizzled out, you saw what happened to the community. And you all, again, I know people say, oh, this is just parties. And no, it's so much more. It's so much more. So I really hope, that people can put whatever politics, ego aside, and get behind these initiatives. These are genuine initiatives that can move our island forward. Desmond, thank you so much. Please keep us abreast leading up to the 28th, as we would love to keep the message flowing for you. Have a wonderful day, good brother. All right. Desmond Crockwell, folks. If you appreciate that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break, but don't go anywhere because we've got a daily play for you before we send you off for the weekend. Stick with us. Be back in a few.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Noah's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
The Office of Consumer Affairs protects residents by promoting fairness, safety, and transparency in the marketplace across the island. We investigate complaints, manage recalls, educate the public, and enforce consumer protection laws to ensure fair treatment for all. Our team supports consumers by resolving disputes, providing guidance, and helping residents understand their rights and responsibilities. We work with businesses to encourage compliance, ethical practices, and trust, helping create a stable and competitive economy. Through education, enforcement, and outreach, Consumer Affairs helps keep Bermuda's marketplace safe, informed, and accountable.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Desmond Crockwell, man. That awesome brother doing great things in our community. I really hope that everyone in Bermuda who's available and able is out there to go and support the efforts and his work. Let's make it happen. All right. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, HSBC, Bermuda, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and Big Love to Hot 1075 for ensuring we can have these important community conversations on a regular basis and pump through the radio airways on Hot 1075. Folks, it is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it is things you should know, and I'm not quite sure. I think you all may get. I don't know. Here we go. What was the Democratic Republic of the Congo formerly known as? Sorry, Stacey Ann Brown, you got it. Zaire. Crazy. I remember people were naming their children Zaire, and then Democratic Republic of Congo just said, nope. Yeah, Zaire. Zaire. It was once known as Zaire. Yep. Alrighty, folks, we got to wrap it up. As far as the discussion this morning regarding advice for young Bermudians, I don't think there's much I can add to what you all have already said. Go, explore, and grow beyond your environment. The world is so much bigger than the space you live in and your social media timeline. As far as the conversation with Desmond, as I stated, the brother's doing good work. And my hope is that this work delivers results that we would all want to see. Less violence, more community. You know, I was talking to one of my Daily Hour colleagues on the phone last night. He called me. He said, man, I'm listening to this show, and it's like, we really lack a sense of community. It's like, how many of us are really helping each other paint our houses? Or lift a brick and help fix a plumbing issue? Or picking each other's children up to help them while they're working a little late? Like, we're just not doing it like we used to. Not even families are doing it. He said, you were right. Like, we don't operate like a community anymore. And I think part of it is stuff we don't want to admit. Like, we want to live or feel like we're living better than the people around us. It's an ego thing. We want what we want. And so there's no sense of we can all have. You know, I always say we can all be successful, but ego. Yeah. All right, let's give you some daily inspiration, send you along the way, folks. Here we are. By the way, regarding that conversation, because I hope we're going to discuss it on Monday, if you know, the whole English testing thing. Rosalind Famous, they should be reaching out to you to help these folks. But anyway, this quote is from Jackie Robinson. It says, life is not a spectator sport. If you're going to spend your whole life in the grandstand, just watching what goes on, in my opinion, you are wasting your life. Do with that what you will, folks. But again, gratitude to Desmond for not remaining a spectator and becoming a participant in helping reshape Bermuda and making it a safer place for all. Alrighty, folks. Please, if you haven't already, take this moment. It costs you nothing. If you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, and Instagram, just hit that like, love, follow, share the conversation with your friends, family, colleagues. Let's make sure everyone you know has access to know that this event is taking place March 28th, beginning at noon to 6. Saving Lives Festival, Francis Patton. Parking is going to be available at Baylor's Bay Cricket Club. Well, Doc's Puddle may be available at the field. And then hopefully the Gospel Hall down there in Hampton Parish. They will have shuttles. So, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big Big hug and love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great weekend. We are out. Peace.